How's it going, everybody? It's Corey and Preston back here to bring you Game 3 of the NBA Finals and our breakdown for this boom slate. We got a Golden State 2 to nothing advantage. Possible sweep wouldn't be too surprising. What are you expecting from this game, Preston?
Yeah, this one, I mean, if you look at just what Vegas thinks, it's supposed to be a lot closer. The spread is 4.5 right now, I believe. Over under is about the same, so I don't think it'll be any faster or slower. And I don't think the pace of play should change too much. I mean, for me, really, before the series, I would talk to buddies, and I think Golden State to win 4-1 would be a good bet. My thing, I'm not personally going to bet the spread or the money line probably on either of these games, just because I think Cleveland can win one game, but my thing is I don't know. There's no distinction between games 3 and 4. So I think Cleveland could definitely take one here. But then again, just with how elite Golden State is, I could see it being a 20-point game or something like that again. It'll be definitely interesting to tell. Hopefully it'll be a closer game just for viewer enjoyment. But yeah, there's a few different scenarios that I could see happening from this.
Yeah, and one of those scenarios will be in our $1 million jackpot, the $4 entry, where we have JaVale McGee and J.R. Smith for points. Kind of two weird guys to see here. We know JaVale McGee got the start last game, and he absolutely exploded. But it was 6 of 6 on field goal attempts. I don't think we see that again. But what do you think? Who wins this category?
Yeah, this one's interesting. I think if the series were still in Golden State, I think I'd go JaVale McGee here for sure. Just with him starting last game, I would assume, just with how much better they played instead of Kevon Looney, I would assume that he should start. That's the better choice for the fifth starter in that Golden State lineup for me. I mean, if he only saw 18 minutes last game as a starter, so it's not like he played 30 minutes and scored 12 points. But his opponent here, J.R. Smith, we've seen this throughout the whole playoffs. He's just incredibly better at home. He had game one, he played pretty well for the first 47 minutes of the game. And then, of course, had that huge mishap there at the end. But just from a scoring perspective, I mean, he's so much better on the road or at home than on the road. So I think going back to Cleveland should help him out a lot. This one is really tough for me just because there's kind of uncertainty in minutes really for both of them. I've heard some talk that J.R. Smith might – I don't think anything from the Cavs organization, but just that the Cavs are much worse with him on the court and they need to look at playing Rodney Hood if they want to win or stuff like that. So, I mean, going up towards lock, I would definitely look at just news, see if J.R. Smith's still starting. If he's not and JaVale McGee is, then McGee is the go-to here. If we get any news that JR won't see 30-plus minutes, that's something to monitor. You said that the 6 of 6 is not replicable, and probably 100% shooting may not be. But I mean, you got to think the baskets that JaVale McGee is making are all dunks. I don't know if he took one shot outside like 2-3 feet. So I mean, really, just with how much the Cavs defense pays attention to those four studs. I kind of like JaVale McGee here. I don't see why he can't score another double-digit point total tomorrow night or for Game 3. But then again, you got JR who can just go make 6 threes or something crazy like that. So, I mean, for me, it's kind of just personal preference. I would probably go McGee just because his opportunities to score are a lot safer than JR's are, especially with the uncertainty there. I think if McGee gets 20 minutes again, he can look at 10 to 15 points even. I mean, just on straight up dunks. So for me, I'm probably going JaVale, but I mean, there's a case to be made for either guy, really.
Yeah, I think like what Preston said, you got to wait for the news here. We did hear today, actually, that Rodney Hood will finally play in this series. So who knows who's going to lose minutes there. We'll have to wait and monitor. I'm sure we'll figure it out closer to lock. I mean, really, just like what Preston said, I mean, JaVale will get some looks closer to the hoop. J.R. Smith absolutely balls out at home. I see this one at 50-50, and it's a tough category, but, I mean, I guess you do have to really lean towards the guy who's taking dunks instead of threes, but J.R. Smith, we know, can heat up anytime. So a tough category there. For the most points, we'll have LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and Klay Thompson. I don't see any of these guys outscoring LeBron, especially at home, even if this game does get a little out of hand. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. He didn't have a great game last game, but I kind of thought that that would happen. I kind of predicted that just with how game one went, how demoralizing that had to have been, and just being on the road, they lost all momentum from that game. I think with the home crowd, like we said for JR, I think LeBron he doesn't necessarily play better at home, but it's just got to be so much easier for him at home. All three of those Warriors guys get a little bit of a downgrade going just from the confines of Golden State to Cleveland. I don't see really any reason to pick against LeBron here. He's really the only one with true 40-point, like having a good chance at 40 points, and he has 50, 60-point upside like we saw in game one. So yeah, for me, I'm going LeBron here and not really thinking too hard about it.
Absolutely. Sticking with the points category, we'll jump to more role players other than Draymond Green, where we have George Hill, Tristan Thompson, Draymond Green, and Sean Livingston. Do you have a specific favorite here, or do you see a close call?
Yeah, this one. So I mean, like Jr. Really, the when you look at home road splits in the playoffs for those Cavs, George Hill's kind of the other guy. He's much better at home. In the Boston series, we saw it big time. He had 13 points in each of the two games, the first two games at home, and he had 5 and 3 in games one and two versus Boston. So his home road splits are definitely drastic. I think 13 to 15 points isn't out of the question for him. Tristan Thompson, he hasn't really seen many minutes in the first two games. He's been at 30s, and in the first two games of this series, he was at 20 and 23. He scored 11 points on 5 of 8 shooting, which was the most attempts he's taken in a while. He's really not in consideration for me. I like George Hill out of those two Cavs players. And then Livingston and Green. Sean Livingston has been just shooting. I don't know if he's missed a shot. Yeah, he's 9 for 9 with 2 made free throws in 2 games in this series so far. And even still, he's only scored 10 points per game in the first 2 games of this series. So with that, I really don't think we can rely on him taking mid-range jumpers and making every single shot he takes. So for me, it's between Draymond and George Hill. Here, Draymond, I mean, he's getting massive minutes. He's gotten 47 in game one and 39 in game two. He was 2 of 4. He didn't take many shots in game two, but game one he scored 13 points. I think he's definitely in consideration here. I think really with the game going back, or the series going back to Cleveland, I think George Hill's probably my top pick here over Draymond. But I think if you want to take kind of the more safe feeling out of these 4 guys, Draymond's probably the move there. But yeah, I'll probably go with George Hill. Kind of hope more people go towards the popular choice in Draymond. But it's an interesting category for sure.
I like the George Hill call too. He was terrific last game. Really took matters into his own hands to keep it, I guess, as close as possible. Took a lot of shots. He really wasn't afraid, and he even drove to the rim a lot. I just see a lot of these guys as Tristan Thompson and Sean Livingston. I mean, the ball's got to go in for them to be valuable, whereas George Hill is going to get a ton of minutes. You don't see Draymond shooting that much. His 3-point shot has looked awful. So I agree. I like George Hill here as well. For the rebounding category, we'll have Draymond Green, LeBron, Kevin Durant, and Larry Nance. Anything here?
Yeah, for me, we got Larry Nance is kind of the odd man out. He really, for me, it's a minutes thing. I mean, he saw 19 minutes in game one and had 11 rebounds, which was huge. And then game two, for whatever reason, he only played 12 minutes and grabbed 6 rebounds. So, I mean, really, for me, it's kind of just a minutes projection thing for him. He's up there if he sees 20 minutes. He's in consideration. But if he's only seeing 12 to 14 minutes, I'm looking at these other 3 guys. For me, between those 3, I'm really looking at Draymond Green here. Even he just played horrible in game 2. He looked really bad, couldn't shoot the ball well, didn't have as high of a usage, and he still got 8 rebounds. So for me, with LeBron, I'm sure he'll be a popular pick, but with Kevin Love and Tristan Thompson playing there, I really don't want to take him. I took a prop bet for the under for LeBron's rebounds last game, just because his rebound numbers are lower when both of those guys are playing. I don't think as many people realize that Kevin Love is back this series. He didn't play the last few games of the Boston series, and that's when LeBron was just getting massive number rebounds. So he's probably out of it for me. And then Kevin Durant, he played a lot better game two than he did game one, but still saw 9 rebounds. I think Draymond, he's the guy for me here. He has 13 to 15 rebound upside. On the road, they're going to need the energy they always get from him. I think that'll be key. So for me, I'm looking at Draymond as my main pick here.
I agree. A lot of what you said, you really covered everything. I don't have too much else to say here. I kind of like what you said about LeBron. Tristan Thompson getting the extra minutes. JaVale McGee being in the lineup might mean some extra minutes for Tristan Thompson, too. I just think that Draymond has more upside. Captain of the team, always on the court, and you absolutely nailed that category in my mind. For 3-pointers, we'll have Klay Thompson, Kevin Love, Kevin Durant, and LeBron James. What do you see here?
Yeah, for me, I mean, I really don't like taking LeBron James 3-point totals, whether it's prop betting or looking at these 3-point categories. He even if he takes a ton, if he takes 7 or 8 threes, he really only makes 2 to 3 of them. He's not a high percentage 3-point maker, and when you got the guys on the Warriors, it's just tough for him to compete with them. Going back home, I think it helps out Kevin Love a lot. He plays better at home, gets to feed off that crowd. I'm sure they'll be pumped for a game three. Durant, he only shot 3 3-pointers last game, which was kind of surprising to me. But I don't know. Game one, he just looked super off, and I don't think going from Oracle to the Cavs stadium is going to help him at all. This one for me, I know we usually like to target the guys that just score more straight up, but without Curry in this category, I think it's between Klay and Kevin Love here for me. Kevin Love shot 8 threes in both games, and he's only made 4. So he's shooting 25% from the 3-point line, really poor percentage. So he's an option there. With Klay, I think that ankle looks fine. Played a normal amount of minutes last game, didn't look hindered, made 3 3-pointers. So for me, you could split shares between Thompson and Love here. I'd probably go Thompson just because he's a great 3-point shooter, one of the best in the league. And I don't think he gets a lot of catch and shoot shots. He doesn't need to create for himself, and that shouldn't go away going on the road. So I'd probably lean towards Klay, but I don't think Kevin Love's a bad option either.
Yeah, I like those two that you broke it down. I really see it coming down between the two of them. I kind of liked what you said about Love a lot. And Klay Thompson, I'm pretty sure, has not been the same on the road as home when it comes to shooting. So if Kevin Love even hits 3, it might be enough for me tonight or for the game. So I think I'm gonna go Kevin Love here, just a little bit bold, but I mean, love the two of them the most by far. For the assist category, we have Draymond Green, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and George Hill. We can easily rule out George Hill here. No reason to really go picking him. Did even record assists. He had 3 assists last game. That's fair. But for here, I mean, we have Draymond Green and Kevin Durant, who both had 7 last game, and Curry had 8. So, I mean, looks like a real toss-up here. Is there anything you're seeing that the public might not be?
Yeah, I mean, I think this one's definitely going to be close between those 3. You were spot on. There's no reason to even look at George Hill here. For me, I think a bunch of people may go Draymond Green here. He didn't look great last game. He just didn't get as much of a usage as he did in game 1. For me, I think between Curry and Durant, I'm definitely going Curry here. Durant is more of a rebounder. He's not going to pass the ball as much, and Curry's just having a fantastic finals. I think really Draymond and Steph are kind of the 2 options here for me, but I've got to go with Steph here. He's just looked so great. He had 9 assists in game 1 and 8 in game 2, I believe, and he's scoring the ball super well. He's just playing. I mean, he's looking like a Finals MVP if they go and win this series. So yeah, for me, I'm going with Steph here. I think he may be a little against the grain just with Draymond there. Being more of a triple-double threat than Curry, but with his assists have gone way up in the last 5 games. He's averaging about 7 or 8 assists per game, whereas Durant, he was not passing the ball at all in the Houston series, and it's looked a little bit better against Cleveland. But yeah, for me, Steph's the move in my opinion.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I really like the correlation factor between Steph and JaVale. Just because
Yep.
the way the Warriors spread out the ball, when they drive, everyone's crashing to whether it's Draymond, Steph, Clay, or KD, and that leaves one guy open. And we saw it last game, JaVale McGee, and it's just an easy dump off pass there for Curry. Even a fake three right to JaVale. It's just I think that's why we see the assist total going up, and he's still scoring the same. Obviously, he was insanely efficient last game. 9 of 17 for three is incredible. But I really like the Curry pick there, and I feel confident with that. And here's the part of the show where, shoot or shoot, and we will take our shot at nailing the exact points that Kevin Love, Kevin Durant, and LeBron James get. What you got for Kevin Love?
Yeah, so I mean, we open up that category and we see his average is 18 points. I think I really like going over that. Vegas had his point total at 17.5 last game, and I like the over on that. He ended up scoring 22, which was good to see. He'd been just horrible in the playoffs until he got hurt. Really, he had like 3 games where he scored over 20. It was just really bad, but. After getting that layoff with the concussion, I don't know what happened, but he's been looking great. He shot 20 and 18 times in the past 2 games, which is big time for me after seeing him shoot 13, 12, 12 games before that. He's shooting threes, shot 8 each game, like I mentioned earlier, and he's only made 4 total. So there's even room for improvement in that. I think he scored 21 in game 1, 22 in game 2. I think looking at that 22 range, going back home should get a little boost right there. 22 is probably where I'd put him at for a single bullet. I think you could go maybe 22 to 24, something, or 20 to 24, maybe somewhere in that range. But yeah, I think going a little bit over his season average is probably the move here. He's just looked really good.
Yeah, I think I really like your total right there. Like I said, I kind of expect Kevin Love to hit about 3 or 4 threes. Right off the bat, it's going to give him 9 to 12 points. He gets to the free throw line a decent bit. He got there 5 times, and he's pretty accurate. So if we're just doing that, that would put him at 14 to 17 points right there, and then he'd just have to hit a few inside shots, which he's been doing fine this series. We liked him for the 3-point category, so we got to give him a little bit boost there. I like the. I think 22 is a terrific prediction. Honestly, I think you can go even high as 24. This game should be. I guess you. Other than the first game, this game should be somewhat resemble the first game. Even though I still think Golden State gets this, but if Cleveland's gonna make a mark, it's gonna be this game. So gotta assume Kevin Love has some role in that, and I think I like that mid to low 20s prediction. Next we have Kevin Durant. What's your shot here?
Yeah, so this one, people may, I really don't know what people want to do here, but they may go under kind of a projection of 30 or so, just going on the road. He hasn't been playing well. He's only scored 26 in the last 2 games. So people may go 25, 26 points. I think I may be wanting to look at 29 to 30. For my projection, he has been, unlike most players, he's been playing actually a lot better on the road. He's getting more shot attempts, getting over 20 a game. And in his last few home games, he scored 34, 29, 38, 37. Those were the 4 away games against Houston. So I think really looking at maybe 29 points for a projection for him, maybe what we want to do instead of looking at the 20 projection or his average on the season is. But yeah, I think 29 is probably where I'd go for a single bullet. Maybe go around there for multi-entering.
I kind of like the lower end of Durant, somewhere between 25 to 28, just because I think he noticed the ISO wasn't working that well, and he only shot 14 attempts last game, which is kind of interesting to see. Maybe he noticed something. So that's just my take on that. And since the feed isn't working, real quick, what do you like for LeBron James?
Yeah, this is gonna be tough, man. It's always tough to predict his points. Last time we were looking at a lot higher than he was looking at. We were looking at upper 30s, and he went out and scored 29 points on 20 shots. That was due to blowout. I think going home, I think it should be close. He'll get plenty of shots, I'm sure. This will be something interesting to monitor to balance out between assists and points scored. Man, I mean, I'm looking at maybe 35 to 39, something like that. Probably mid to upper 30s is where I'd be at. Kind of maybe 36, 37 for a projection on points for him. But yeah, it's always tough. He's one of the hardest players to predict points wise in the NBA. So you can take your shot with whatever you want in the 30s or so. But yeah, I'd probably look at 36 as a projection for him.
Yeah, this morning I woke up and I put 38 in. I'm just going to stick with that. I
Yeah.
have a good feeling about that. Not too much breakdown. Picking LeBron is pretty impossible. But
Yep.
yeah, that'll be it for our show. I'm sorry my feed cut out. I don't know what's going on, but you get to see Preston's beautiful face by himself. But enjoy this game, guys. We'll be back for the next one.